right, all right, all right. Welcome to the show. Squeal like a pig. It's an outdoor show dedicated to fun, ethical shooting, hunting outdoors, and eliminating wild hogs. And Mountain Man and I love to kill some wild hogs.
Yes, we do.
The content informative and entertaining. Our show airs on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. I'm your host, KornHole, and joining me tonight is Mountain Man. What's up, Mountain Man?
What's up, KornHole?
How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah? What you been up to?
I've been hunting.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I don't think I saw you this past weekend, but we were both at the club, right?
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
4,600 acres will leave you feeling like that.
Yeah, I got a late start too because I had baseball practice at 7. So
that's right.
Me and my boy, we didn't even hit the house till 10 o'clock. I got out there. I guess I got out there about 12:45.
Yeah. We had kind of a slow night. We had some other members that came in and out of the woods, and we had some other members that kind of hunted the club before we got there a couple of days. I don't think that had so much impact, but maybe that night. And then the weather was a big deal, which, when those fronts come in, it's kind of hit or miss. They either get kind of active early, and they were that night. We sent a lot of pictures of pigs moving pretty early. Yeah. So we knew they were kind of going to be moving early, but then we kind of came in a little bit later, us and the rest of the group. And it started out being, 5 of us, and ended up being like 12.
Yeah.
It's all said and done. They found out we were coming down hunting. They were like, yeah, we want to get on this action. So, it was a little bit of a struggle, but congratulations to our boy Troy from God Podcast. He got his first pig hunting with his partner in crime, Doug.
Yeah,
it was good times. They actually have a video of it on their YouTube page. We've actually added it to our playlist on our YouTube page, and it was a really good deal. I mean, he was literally, and we'll have him on the show, and I'll let him tell his whole story, but he told me he was literally packing his stuff up. It was about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning.
I heard him shoot, yeah.
What's that?
I heard him shoot.
Yeah.
I knew it was him.
He was literally packing up to call it a night because he was tired, and he just glanced over at his scope and he saw something bright in it. He's got a pulsar thermion. He saw something bright and he's like, what is that? And he'd been watching deer and coons all night, and he goes, oh crap, that's pigs. And so then he texted Doug, his partner in crime, and said, I got pigs. And so Doug texted me a few minutes later. He's like, Troy's got pigs. I'm like, oh crap, it's about to be on. And then I heard boom. Yeah. And then we got the video a little while later, and he whacked him good.
Yeah. I was in a stand it's made out of those water crates, steel water crates.
Yep, the crate stand.
Loudest stand in the history of stands.
Really?
Oh my goodness! I mean, it's tight, and me and Gabe got up in there. Any movement, anything at all, dong. So I had to laugh. I was trying not to get frustrated because and there's an office chair, and somebody had thrown the second chair out, so I had to pull up a metal, and it's a metal chair. I had to pull up a metal chair super slowly, trying to be super, super careful. I got it all the way in there, and I dropped it inside, and it went kaboom. I mean, echoed the whole woods.
that usually doesn't end well for a hunt.
Like, Dad.
Yeah, and at 1 o'clock in the morning, that sound is 1,000 times louder than it is in the middle of the afternoon.
Everything within 500 yards, probably. I'm surprised the guys weren't texting. What's going on over there?
Yeah. So hey, let's mention some of our unofficial sponsors.
Yeah.
The brands we like today, as we like to call them. Mountain Jam from Southern Brewing. I believe you got one of those in your hand. You're straight up legit tonight. I'm actually on another good brand. I'm on the Coors Light. I'm usually Coors Light, Keystone, or Mountain Jam. So those are my 3 flavors. But we also like to recognize ATN Optics. We love their thermal and night vision scopes. They do a great job for us. Aero Precision, The infamous Helen Killers and Aero Precision. We love her. PFI, Willie Puskas and Puskas Firearm Innovations out of Richmond Hill. We love those guys. They take care of us with gun accessories and just gunsmithing and just advice. Yep. Browning and who else you got?
We and Gabe both hunt with Savage, so we like Savage.
Yep. You guys are Savage guys.
This right here, this is where my daughter works. It's Black Rifle Coffee Company.
Nice. Black Rifle, big time.
Yeah, they make great coffee too, and it's all supports the first responders. So, and Nine Line Apparel is another one that I like. That
nice.
Them two partner. My daughter works the coffee side, but sometimes she works on the Nine Line side too. Nice. And I get big discounts.
Nice. That's always a good deal, right?
Yeah,
Friends and family discount works for everybody.
Yeah, and they're great. They're great to work for. They treat her really well. So
and then also on the silencer side, we got Silencer Co. and OSS. We love their cans, good stuff. And then Spy Point cameras. It's kind of my eye in the sky. AWACS for the pigs, if you will. I love their product in the sense. I buy probably their cheapest camera. I know they have some better cameras, but we really use it just to identify movement patterns. We can identify that they're pigs. We may not get the number of hairs on their back, but we know that they're pigs. And so it gives us an idea of when we need to go out hunting, how long we may need to stay hunting, if there's other waves of pigs coming through. And it's really great intel. You got any shout outs tonight? Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
I'm going to shout out to my brother-in-law, my cousin. I'm trying to get them up here to a hog hunt. And so when they see this, hopefully they'll start planning. So
I've got some shout outs too. I'm going to shout out, of course, to Doug and Troy from God and Guns podcast. They were awesome guests. We had a really good time. Troy and his son came down and they made a long trek from Kentucky. And man, it was tough for them. They literally hit the ground. I literally shook Troy's hand. We know each other through Doug, and he's heard a lot about me. I've heard a lot about him. It was the first time we met in person. I literally walked up and shook his hand and said, "Come on, we got to go. We got to get out in the woods," because they literally came in right at dusk. Got them out in the woods. They spent a few hours out in the woods. They were exhausted from driving. Tried to get in a good hunt. They killed a couple of pigs. Troy did, and then we were going to try and go hunt the next night, but it obviously rained.
Yeah,
it came a monsoon. And then my little brother is getting married this coming weekend. I'm actually in the wedding, so that'll be a real treat. I haven't put on a suit like that in quite a while, so we'll see what that looks like. See how that comes out. But I'm hoping to get him and his buddies down for a pig hunt. So one of his buddies, Jason Brown, said he's going to deck out with the baddest hog killing machine ever and come down and try it out. So I told him to bring it, and we would go mano a mano, and I'll show him how it's done, so he can come down and do what he wants to do, and then I'll show him what he needs to do. And hey, so what about my? We did baiting last week. I want to hear your feedback on my recipe on baiting.
Dude, so I have you on camera about noon. I see you over there. You're drilling your holes and putting the bait down. I don't know. 3.5 hours later, I texted you pictures, and that was a sounder that hadn't been on my camera before.
Right.
It was daytime. It was like 4:30 in the afternoon, and they were just going at it.
Yeah, and that's where Troy ended up killing his pig at too. So that was pretty cool. And then
And at 41 too, you dumped it out of 41.
I dumped 41. I dumped a couple other ones. I was getting them on my other cameras. Yeah, anywhere I put it out, they pretty much come to it. And some of it's the wind. If you don't have good wind, if the wind's blowing the opposite direction where your pigs are at, then you're probably not going to get them. Yeah. But like you said in a couple of shows ago, they have a sense of smell 500 times that of a deer, and so. I think, just getting it out there and actually Doug from God and Guns podcast is actually hunting tonight. And he took my last bucket of bait because it rained Saturday night. So he didn't put any more bait out. So he took that last bucket out tonight. So he's actually pig hunting right now, somewhere down near Macon. And
let's blow up his phone.
What's that?
So let's blow up his phone while he's hunting.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll probably do that after the show. But I think, if he put it out, I encouraged him to dig some holes to make some work for it. But he said he was just going to scatter it on the ground. But I just told him, I said, shake it up a little bit. The corn will absorb some of the water, the fluid that's in there. Right. But, it's soured a couple of extra days. So, that stuff is primed right now. And I'll be shocked if he doesn't text me in a little bit and just tell me he's got pigs all over him or whatever, because you saw it firsthand. You're texting me. You're like, I'm sold. I agree. This is the deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it was nearly instantaneous.
It was. I mean, literally, I went back to the hotel and started getting my stuff together. When you're blowing me up, you're like, dude, I'm sold. What, give me the complete recipe. Give me all the details. Let's go with the cornhole baiting technique and see where it goes. But so hey, what are we talking about tonight? I think we mentioned we were going to talk about some trapping of wild hogs this week.
Yeah, talking about trapping.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. How much do you like the trapping of the wild hogs? What's your initial gut feelings on the trapping of the wild hogs?
I think it's absolutely necessary. Of course, I would much rather be in the woods going after them myself, but they're so prolific. They're so if you don't go after them at every angle you can, if you're wanting to not be overran, then you need to use all the tools at your disposal, and trapping is one of them that's going to be consistent. So when you're not out there able to hunt them, you got traps out there that are able to hunt them. So,
hey, before you go any further, I just want to give a big shout out to Spy Point right here. We're getting a pig on camera right now. You can see his back right there. That's down at stand 40.
Yeah.
Our guy John in the club has been hunting stand 40, and so hopefully he's out there tonight and he's about to skewer that bad boy. But yeah, the trapping, I think, is an integral part, like you and I both say. I think we're both preferred hunters of the pig versus trappers, but we also recognize the value in doing it if you're trying to eliminate the pigs.
You have to, yeah.
And so when we think about like what we've been doing on our club, why don't you talk a little bit about what we're doing as far as the trap type and then the technique that we're doing to try to get the pigs?
Yeah, so the trap we're using it's a cage with a gravity drop door on the front that trips in the back. It's just it's just a cable that goes around. Comes down through. There's a bar. It gets hooked underneath a little latch, and when they bump that bar, it comes loose. The door falls behind them.
It's like a guillotine, right? It just drops straight down.
Guillotine. It's in a track, and it's just a heavy gate that just comes on straight down. It's a very heavy duty, heavy trap.
And we looked at other kinds of traps. We talked about this in the club, and they can be pretty expensive, right? I mean, you and I both looked at them. I mean,
$1,000, some of them, even more.
Yeah, I mean, they can be really ridiculous. But if you got unlimited funds, then that might be what you go with. But what we found is it's not so much the trap type; it's how you use the trap, right?
That's right.
It's positioning in an area where there's pigs, and then how long do you think you keep a trap out after you stop getting pigs in it, even though you maybe know pigs are in the area, because you and I both know they're super smart animals?
I mean, if for me, if it's 2.5 weeks, then I'm starting to consider where's my next place to put the trap.
Yeah,
and I'll probably let it go three weeks. If there's nothing, then they're on to you. So I would by the 4th week for sure, I'm moving the trap.
Yeah.
But after 2.5 weeks, I'm considering, I'm considering where's my next spot. So, they're smart, man. They when they see their buddies in there, they get it. And those are the ones that you're just gonna have to, go hunt them, because, especially if you're supplementing feeding your deer. If you got food plots and you've got smart hogs, you got to mix it up. You got to move the trap around. You got to get out there and hunt them. You got to, sometimes you don't set the trap. You let them go in and out, for a week or so, and just keep the gate up. Let them go in and out and get comfortable, and then one day just set it, and then you'll get 3, 4, because they'll get in there and fight over the food.
Yeah.
But they learn fast. They really do.
There's no doubt.
They're very smart animals.
Oh, excuse me. As far as like you mentioned the amount of time, what do you typically put in the trap? I mean, you going with my secret recipe bait, or are you going just corn, or what are you putting in there? Vegetables, fruits? What are you talking about?
I go as low cost as possible. I start with just corn. If it's not working, then I'll take the time to put in something that's a little more spicy.
Yeah.
Or what I call spicy. Spicy means just add your spice to it, you know.
Right. Get a little jonesed up about it.
Yeah. So, but what I want to implement at the club is that the saloon gate. That's what I want. That's what I want to implement. Because if there's something in there that they want, if there's no threat around them, they're going to try to find a way into that. And there's a couple of types. The one that just trips the door stay open. They come in there. They don't close until they hit the spot that trips it. Then they close. Some of them just stay closed and they push their way, and they'll go around that thing trying to find a way into it.
Yeah.
But that saloon door, what I like about it is you can make it as big or as small as you want. You just take cattle fence panels, and you just build they don't like square stuff so much, so you build it kind of round, circular, octagon.
Yeah.
And once there's some in there and they're eating, if they haven't learned about the trap yet, then they're going to be jealous, man, and they're going to be trying to get in there. So they just push their way in. They'll push through that saloon door, and it just springs back, and they can't get out. It's a one-way door. So that's what I want to put on there. Then we can, then you're starting to talk about, you get the whole sounder,
Yeah. Is there a time of year that you think is better for trapping than other times? I've been looking at that. I've read some guys' theories on it. I think they talk about certain times of year are better for trapping, but I don't really see any rhyme or reason to it. I mean, I think if you get it out there and you get the right bait in there, you can get them in there. And then obviously when they get intelligent, then they're not going to come in there. But do you have any insight into that you want to share?
I think your best success is after deer season, when all of the food sources, the stuff that we've put out is no longer there. The acorns have all been eaten. Any of the greenbrier that was left over, that the deer have got, all the stuff that's out there for forage when it's at its very lowest. Mid-January, early February is probably your best time to entice them into a trap, because they're going to be hungry and they're looking for the high calorie stuff.
Yeah.
So success rate wise, that's probably, they're going to push their limits a little further to get to something. They'll take the risk because of the calorie intake. So other than that, I don't think there's much of a difference, especially south where we're at. Once everything's rolling and going again, they've got plenty of grubs when the insects come back. They've got roots, they've got browse, they've got and they got the seafood out there where we are, all the time. So, but I mean, there are times when, like the crabs and stuff, they leave, or it gets too cold, they go to deep water, and then now they're not getting into those tidal pools. So there's that even goes down a little bit.
Yeah, and I think based on our experiences, the hogs will, like you said, they get smart about it, like to see their buddies caught in it or whatever. And so some of the things we've done is we've started, like I did this past weekend, I was hunting the trap area where we had the trap, because we still had hogs coming in, but there was 3
That's right,
medium-sized pigs. I think they're a combination of boars and sows that would not go in the trap. We had watermelon in there. We had oranges in there. We tried to spice it up, like you said, to try to entice them to get into it. And they had just seen too much. They had witnessed the door come down, I guess. And they're
five out of their sounder were caught in it. So, so they learned, and they were like, nope, we ain't doing it.
So then it's almost like, they may still be coming in your area where you're maybe deer hunting or whatever else, and you're just trying to get rid of those last couple. And sometimes you just have to kind of hunt your trap, because they're still coming to the trap, because there's still food in the area. They're still curious about it. They'll still come all the way up to it. Maybe they will never go into it. You just have to be ready. And unfortunately for me, I showed up on the night that they did not come to the trap. So they did not get to meet Helen Killer, and it was kind of a sad event.
Yeah. I would say, though, the best time for me for a trap is outside of deer season.
Right.
I don't care. Outside of that, I'll work a trap, but you know, I'll hunt hogs all the way through deer season, but I'm not going to put the time in during these deer season.
Right.
That's just me. You know, I got other plans. So.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of people's deal, right? You know, they're trying to focus on their deer season, and they're just trying to maybe knock out two birds with one stone. And so, you know, they want to put a trap out. And so, like you were saying, I think that one of the main things that people need to recognize is, you know, when you get some pigs out of a sounder, you know, a group of pigs that you get catching your trap, and then maybe you're still getting the others on camera, but they won't go in there, then that's time when you have to move in and make the kill shot. You have to kill them after hours or whatever when they come in. But then also, like you were saying, is that's also a time to consider moving your trap to an area, or even brushing it in, you know, making it not as obvious. I know on our club, I noticed the guys who put the trap out, they don't really brush it in. They just kind of put it somewhere. They bait it up good. And, you know, new hogs that aren't as wary of it will kind of walk in there. But then all of the rest of them in the sounder that don't get caught in there are like, they get smart, right? We teach them just like we do in deer hunting, turkey hunting, duck hunting, whatever it is. They start to figure out where they don't want to go because they've watched their brethren and sisterin and everybody else just go to the the dark place. So, you know, having that mindset of being willing to move and reposition for some fresh meat, if you will.
Yeah. Yep. And what I consider, you know, is if I'm after those 3 hogs that are coming, like for us, we have protein out right now that we're trying to supplement for the deer, and you know, that's a lot more expensive than corn. So my strategy is to find out where they're moving. You know, just put it on a different part of their corridor that they're walking through, and they're not going to correlate it the same way. They don't have the same, I mean, they're a super smart animal, but they're not human. They don't have that much, you know, reasoning.
Right.
They're so environmentally habitual that they learn this spot is bad. Well, you could put it in another spot and they'll be like, oh, there's food there.
Right.
And they don't connect the two. That's what I feel, you know, is how to trick them.
No, I think you're spot on with that. I think even just changing the direction of the cage, the entry point which they come in, and if you brush it in, then you can have different successes. So, yeah, I think just, you know, adjusting your game, figuring things out, changing the bait that you maybe are using in your trap, those things can all have a definite impact on it and what your results look like.
That's right.
I'm trying to think of what else. You know, trapping is difficult, but it's also very simple, I think, is what I would tell people, like, don't overcomplicate it. You know, you don't have to go, like, you know, I mentioned a little bit ago, you know, there's very complex trapping systems, and those are really cool. You know, if you're a technology nerd like I am, and I love, you know, the ability to, you know, I'm getting these dumb pictures on my camera right now. So I got another one right now out of 46. Let's see what this one looks like. Let's see, we got pigs. It may not be pigs. They usually get coons at 46. And it's coons. But, you know, just, you know, being willing to adapt and adjust to what they're doing, I think is such an important part of that. You know, where they're coming from, the direction they're coming from, brushing it in, changing the bait. And then, like I said, when all that fails and they still keep coming in out of curiosity, maybe you're on their highway, is, you know, if you got that spy point looking at it, so you know when you get a hog in it, maybe you know what time they're coming in, maybe because Chris from the club just emailed me or texted me a little bit ago. He's like, hey, they're in early tonight. It's 8:48. I'm like, that's fantastic.
At 11, they're in early?
It's 11. 11's hitting early tonight with pigs, and there's a trap over there. And so what we got to do is now we got to get somebody out there to shoot them because they're so wary of the trap because they've watched 5 other pigs go away.
Yeah, we need to move the trap.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind the trap staying there. They just need to know the trap's not probably going to catch anything else unless a new sounder moves in the area.
Yeah, but I mean, but right now, like we're talking about strategic wise, you know, we're trying to get rid of hogs. So it's time. I'll call Chris. It's time. This is a perfect example. You know, it's sat there for the last 3.5, 4 weeks. It hasn't gotten a hog in it. It's time to put it somewhere else we can hunt those hogs. They're coming in still every night. That's when you move your trap. You go get traps at another spot that you're not hunting with your trap.
Yeah.
And,
move it to
you still go harvest your animals, still get the meat, just put the trap somewhere else. And because it's just, we're trying to eliminate hogs. What would you estimate we have? How many hogs do you think we have on
gosh. I bet we've got roughly 4,000 acres or so. I bet we've got 50 hogs per acre.
Yeah. I think I would say we have, just from my sightings, even I think we have over 1,000 hogs on our club. So what did you say, 50? So that's what, 2,000 hogs?
That's 20,000 hogs, I think. My math is right. If I said 50.
Yeah. No, we don't have that many.
Yeah, we probably don't have that many, but if you say 50 times 4,000, no, is that right? 50 times 4. Yeah, that says 200,000. We don't have that many. So, yeah.
No, I think. Yeah, I think because our hogs aren't spread. They are. I mean, they will show up. If we put corn out for long enough, they'll show up on a game camera. It doesn't matter. They're so nomadic. They're always walking, looking for stuff. And when they find it, that's going to be part of their pathway. But, I would say on our 4,000 acres, we have well over 1,000 hogs.
Yeah. And if you think about all the way from Kilkenny Marina to McAllister State Park, there's a lot of land in between.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's.
So, yeah. So
I'm just talking about on our piece of property, shoot, if you're talking that, you probably have 200,000 hogs.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
You probably have 20,000.
Yeah. I was going to say there's probably more like 20,000 between all that area.
Yeah.
But then that probably fluctuates probably a great deal. That when the sows have the litters, the numbers explode. But then the survival rate of those sows, based on bobcats and snakes and gators and other critters, coyotes and other us that are killing them, those numbers probably go up and down pretty dramatically, but I think they still stay at kind of an even level, if you will, probably in that, 10,000 or so acres from, say, Kilkenny all the way up to Fort McAllister State Park and further inland.
Probably 40,000 acres. Yeah.
Yeah. There's thousands of acres there, and there's literally probably tens of thousands of hogs that are running around through there, and some that never see human beings, that we never see, but then we just, we might get them on game camera once or twice or this or whatever, and then they move on to something else. They just move through an area, they breed, they feed, and then they go on to the next place. So, there's a shit ton of them out there. There's no doubt about that.
Yep, there are.
I mean, I just sent you a picture 30 minutes ago of 10 at 41.
Yeah.
I mean,
something was tripping my camera, but it wasn't showing up. It's a deer.
Okay, gotcha.
It was just it must have been right outside the view, because it was sending pictures with nothing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, so what else are we going to say about trapping? I mean, we know it's an integral part of our game management and how we deal with hogs. Anything else you would suggest about it?
Yeah, when we're talking about the baiting, I've noticed that a lot of these professional trappers, it's even more important than when you're going out hunting bait holes and bait buckets. They wear latex gloves almost all the time when they're baiting up their traps.
Gotcha.
So but they're also doing it consistently every day. They're working those traps every day. They're moving them. And they're working on pigs that are onto them already. They've gotten wise to it. So,
right.
If you think about it in the terms of, even if you just thought about it just as a deer, how a deer's nose is, and what we do to before we go into a deer stand. If you're putting out a trap and that thing's nose is 500 times better than a deer. Yeah. And they know, and if they're already onto the human scent factor, they're just gonna be like, nah, I ain't doing that, and they'll just walk the other way. So scent control is important with trapping. I wouldn't be crawling around all inside of it. Only you can check your trap if you don't have a camera on it. We put cameras on ours. If you don't have a camera, you can check it with binoculars from a distance. Don't go up there and mess up your trap. If you're on a budget and you have 6 traps and you only have 2 or 3 cameras out there, the other ones, just walk up 100 yards away and take your binos and check it. Don't go all up in there and put your scent everywhere, because that's just going to defeat. It's not going to necessarily defeat you, but it's going to make your success rate lower.
Well, it's just like when I tell the guys when we go out and do a hunt, I'm like, all right, shoot them in the head. If you don't see them on the ground, don't get down and go look for them, because if you don't see them from the stand, they ain't there.
Yeah.
You're going to make them there, and if they're there, they're not going anywhere. So, same thing applies with the trap checking. Don't go within 100 yards of it if you don't have to. If you got the binos, like you said, scope it from a distance, look at it. It's not going to change anything if you get up close. Okay, so maybe you see some pig shit on the ground, a big whoop. I mean, we see that stuff all the time out in the woods.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just if it's not tripped, there's no reason to go up there unless you have to rebait it, and then just rubber boots, gloves, just be mindful.
Yeah. So I mean, we've kind of covered all this about trapping. I think there's some definitely applications for it in the pig stuff. We like to hunt them, so we're not necessarily wanting.
Yeah, I'm not a big trapper. I mean, I do work our trap, but but
it's good to get meat, right? And it's good to game manage with them. But you and I are both of the hunting ilk. We want to go out. We want to hunt them. We want to chase the game. We love that aspect of it. But so next week we're going to be doing a special show with Mountain Child.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to hear the story about Mountain Man and Mountain Child next week.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, because I'm going to let you guys completely let it loose next week. But I really can't wait to hear the story of a special weekend we had not too long ago where you got out with your son.
Yeah.
And I was a part of it, a small part of it, but I was
a little more than a small part, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was a small part of it, man. It was mostly you. I handed you a tool and you guys both used it to perfection. And that was super special. And I can't wait to hear about that next week. And then the following week, I'm working this to get Doug and Troy on from God and Guns podcast to talk about their pig hunt and what we've got going on down there, and how we're trying to manage the pigs, and how we can help other people manage pigs if they so need that assistance.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. And talking about my son, this guy, man, he is stone cold, like nerveless. I can't figure it out, man. When I was his age, I missed as many animals as I shot, because I was just fever. I was a great hunter, man. I could get in there. I'd descent. I could take the bug bites. I could walk through, a mile of swamp and with my stand and climb up, but dang that, And this kid, he's just like, okay, there he is. And he's just ready. And he's just like, okay, I'm going to fire. Pow. And the hog lays down. I mean.
You know why he's so successful, don't you? He's got 2 rings on his scope. You've only got 1.
No. I got 2 rings on it. They're just not on all the way.
Right. Oh, that is awesome.
I'm fixing it.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So just for everybody out there, I ordered a Leupold scope, a nice one, and on my old, I mean, my Savage rifle I bought when I was 19, so it's a 110 model. I bought it in probably 1992. I believe it was 1992, and so being the cheap guy that I am, I still hunt very, I haven't got off the wallet yet to get the thermal, so I hunt with a green light, and I have I just bought a upgraded scope, but the doggone the neck of the scope, the body of the throat of it, the body of it is too narrow to fit right on my regular Weaver mount, you know. So I just shortened them up, and the back one is, you know, they're supposed to be fully on there. The back one is literally a 1/16 of an inch from falling off, and I just cranked it down as tight as I could crank it down. It's a joke. And it got the last weekend of deer season, it got knocked off somehow.
Hey, let me just tell our audience, you can't appreciate it until you see it in person. Like, it is literally owned by a Charlie horse.
Yeah. You want me to go get it? I'll go get it. You want me to get it?
Oh man, you're good. You're good. I do want to show you this. Look at this guy right here.
I'll take a picture.
Can you see that?
Oh yeah, that's a big boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
So, anyways, we got a nice little piglet at 40 right now. He's in that palmetto bush. It looks like he's a dinosaur, right? He's got the little spikes on his back. Yeah. Anyways, you know, that's just kind of how we operate. I think that's what I want everybody that maybe watches the show to understand is the pig hunting work is never done, right? We're taking intel 24/7. We're compiling it. We're passing it on to those that we're trying to get the pigs. What was that, Johnny? We're
trying to pattern them. That's why we're constantly looking at our cameras and our phones, our cell, you know, cameras, and trying to figure out and get that pattern going, because it changes so much, you know.
Yeah.
So,
good stuff.
It's fun, man. Gabe and me in the mornings, we'll get up and we're like, what was on the camera, you know? And so we'll just go through the pictures together, and it's just a good time. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. So it's going to be exciting. So next week, you guys will record again, and then the following week with Doug and Troy from Guide and Guns, we're going to be live.
Nice.
And so that's going to be exciting. We're going to do our first live show. They're going to be a part of it. They were a part of the hunt this past weekend. It was a good time. Like I said, Troy got a couple of pigs. His son came down with him as well. He didn't get anything, but he had a really good time. At least I think he did. He's a really nice kid. Guy seems to have his act together. But I think they'll come back. I mean, we're talking about having another hunt in May, a big hunt. I say a big hunt. I'm not really telling anybody, but we're going to have a big hunt. Keep it on the DL, and then we're going to have another hunt. I'm going to do something with the work side. I'm going to try to get some clients and partners and stuff down on the work side in June, maybe a couple of times, who knows. Nice. And you know, obviously you and I work that together and get out there together. I'll be feeding you intel. You'll help me with baiting, and we'll tag team these suckers, because it takes a village, right, to catch these things.
That's right. It does, for sure.
All right. Any closing comments before we sign off for the night?
My closing comment's going to be the same most of the time, man. Do not think that you have to put these big hogs away because they are tasty. I resist the fact that when people say, oh, if you shoot a boar that's 150 pounds, 200 pounds, that they don't taste good.
Right.
You know, do a little research on how nutritious hog meat is. I was so surprised. It's better for you than beef and chicken.
Yeah. No, I followed up on that, because when you said that, it wasn't that I didn't believe you. I was like, no kidding.
Yeah, it just throws you off.
Yeah.
So, don't be afraid to clean them things, man. I mean, you skin a big boar, and that whole part of his body comes off in like a parachute, because it doesn't flex. It's you know, plates just stick out there. It's a little, you got to get down in there and get it off. And once it's off, man, that's some nice meat.
Yeah, we'll have to get your son, an old mountain child, to record you cleaning an animal one night. Just take some clips, and we'll create kind of a B-roll, if you will, on some hog cleaning stuff. And you can talk about certain aspects of that. You know, when you first cut into them, what you're specifically cutting out, what you're looking for, so that way people will understand that, hey, like if I'm going to kill a pig and I want to eat the pig, like what do I need to do? Because I think that's the biggest fear of most people. Like when I first got into trapping, like small game, like coons, possums, coyotes, bobcats, and stuff like that, when I would catch the animal, like I didn't know what to do, and I learned everything I knew about it from watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So I think if we can add that for a future show of you showing how to clean an animal and what you're doing, we don't have to go through the entire process, but we'll cut out some clips and you can specifically point some things out. We'll show people, like you do it in the dark most of the time, and so yeah, for beginners,
and without a hose, without water.
Yeah, without a hose, without light per se, natural light. You're using flashlights and floodlights or whatever if you have a generator out there. But I think being able to cover that and show people what that looks like, I think that'd be a huge value for people that are looking at hunting hogs, but then not necessarily know what to do with them when they get them, because it's not hard, it's not complex, but you just got to know what you're doing, right? And I think you could provide some tremendous insight into that.
Yeah, and one other thing I would say, and it may sound a little hippie, but it's very like grounding. It's very earthy when you've gone out there and you've harvested an animal and you're actually the one that's cleaning that animal and you're taking care of the meat and you're taking it from all the way from the woods to the dinner table, and you're coming up with your own recipes, and you're and you're following other people's recipes, and it's and it also just takes you off the reliance of
the man,
the big brother, the man. That's right.
Yeah,
it's a big deal. I mean, and it's very satisfying.
Yep, very, very. A lot of gratification in being able to not only take the animal, but to clean it and then prepare it and then feed it to your family, and then go, wow, that's really good. Like, that's fantastic. Versus, hey, I had to go to the grocery store, or the Publix, the Kroger, the whatever, and buy something, and it's been prepared, and it could be a meat recall on it, where you've taken that animal from cradle to grave essentially, and exactly what it's been exposed to because you've cut it open.
Yeah, and it's intimate. People don't like to talk about that anymore, but we're losing that. We're losing that in society. That intimacy. Yeah,
you're totally spot on with that. Like, I could probably line up 50 of the guys I know, and maybe 5 of them would know how to clean an animal.
Yeah, a lot of people just shoot them and drop them off somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I'm not. I do, if it's really hot and I can't get to it, I have no problem. I'll take one to a processor too, no problem. I'm not bashing those guys, but there's just something primal, intimate, grounding about, man. I'll tell you a story, just a real quick story about the third hog that Gabe shot, my boy, Mountain Child. The third hog that he shot, that thing hit the ground, and he looked at me. He put his hand up. He said, "High five. I just fed my family." That's what he did.
Oh, that's awesome.
And to me, that was just like, okay, that's full circle,
Right.
That was like, all right, he gets it. He gets the fact that, yes, we come out here and we hunt animals, and yes, it's fun, and yes, it's a sport, but for us, it's full circle, man. He's like, he as a 12-year-old boy, he just felt proud that he just provided for his family.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
That was cool, man. That was cool.
Yeah. No, that's something to be respected right there. I mean, you think about it, like, how many people can do that today in our society? And I would say the percentages are dramatically lower than they were, say, 50 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago.
Yeah, like, definitely 20 years for sure. Definitely 20 years.
I mean,
probably 10 years ago.
You and I have, I don't particularly like cleaning pigs. I'd rather clean a deer. I just think they're easier. There's definitely a big shield around their chest and stuff. So that's a big deal. But yeah, man, I think that's spot on with that. And, we're starting to run a little bit long. We're kind of rambling on a little bit about this cleaning stuff, but we'll definitely do an episode on that. I want you to bring that to bear. I want you to get Mountain Child to create some videos of you cleaning it, and then we'll show them on the show, and you can talk about it, because I think it's very important for our users or our listeners to understand what that looks like, because it's something's viable. I mean, I gave a good buddy of mine, Brad, a book on salting, curing meat for his birthday, his 40th birthday.
Nice.
man, I thought he was going to hug me and kiss me when I gave it to him. So
Yeah.
he was like, man, that's so awesome. He's like, that's kind of like you said, that's that primal thing. That's that thing inside of us that how many dudes know how to salt and cure meat?
Yeah.
I'd be willing to bet that maybe like less than 3% of this population today.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anyways, well, we're gonna do the story next week. Mountain Man, Mountain Child. It's gonna be a fantastic pig hunting story. I think we're gonna have some pictures and stuff to show with it. It was a pretty epic weekend. I know that I was there. I didn't per se participate in your slaughter, if you will, but I was a small part of it, and it was awesome to see the smile on your son's face, man. He was. I think he still got permagrin from being able to shoot the thermal on the AR platform, and we're looking forward to hearing about that next week, Mountain Man.
And he's a good storyteller too. He's hilarious.
He is. I can't wait to see his animation.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, you have a good one, and we'll catch you next week.
All right, everybody.
All right. See y'all.
See you.